I'm Dr. Marilyn. I'm a general physician practicing here in Klang Valley with a special interest in nutraceutical compounding. Pharmaceutical compounding is the science of customizing or personalizing medications, supplements and nutraceuticals for the patient. It's a very new science in pharmacy in which the doctor actually looks at the patient's condition, their blood tests and their imaging to personalize a formulation that is specific to the needs of the patient. The difference between a regular pharmacy and a compounding pharmacy is that in a regular pharmacy you have to go to the actual retail and look at all the supplements by yourself and based on your own judgment buy what you think is best for you. In a compounded pharmacy, it's completely different in the sense that it's a doctor-led management and the supplement is actually done personalized to your levels and to what your needs are. So that is the very crux of the difference, where one, the decision to buy is solely on yourself, whereas in a compounding pharmacy it's a doctor-led and evidence-based process where you get the supplements titrated to your needs. Now in a compounding pharmacy, unlike the retail pharmacies where medications are usually in the form of oral capsules or tablets, in a compounding it can come in various forms. So even in terms of creams that can be applied, so in patients who require hormone replacement, creams is actually the best way for a hormone to be replaced back to the body in the most optimal form. So a compounding pharmacy largely dispenses creams. We also dispense aesthetic gels, so there is a lot of serums that can be custom made to patients' needs in terms of their skin issues or in terms of their moisturized levels. And so with all this we are able to titrate it based on the specific gels. There is also for the pediatric group, so don't forget children find it very difficult to actually swallow capsules or take in tablets, and when we dispense for children in a compounding pharmacy, it can come even in the form of a lollipop, it can come in the form of a droplets in a dropper bottle. So when you come to a compounding pharmacy, I would say the choices are endless into what's best and what's the best way you want the medicine to be dispensed. So that will be the most significant difference, yes. I'll give you a quick example. So for example, in Malaysia, lots of females tend to be anemic and they may have actually very low iron levels. And so if she walks into a retail pharmacy, most of the iron levels, the iron doses are pretty high. So for an Asian female, it may cause gastritis, it may cause abdominal discomfort. But when she comes to a compounding pharmacy, these doses will be titrated to her body weight, to be titrated to her underlying gastritis or whatever abdomen condition that she has. And so in that way the doses can even be given twice a day instead of just a larger dose and once a day. Another reason why we would do this is largely a lot of the supplements that is on the shelf contains preservatives, and that's why the expiry date can go into years, sometimes 2 to 3 years, whereas in a compounding pharmacy the expiry is very short, about 3 to 6 months, and that's because there is no excipients, there is no additives, preservatives, emulsifiers, stabilizers, all that makes up all the addition that we don't want in the first place. As a practicing physician, I realize that I respect the fact that people want to take supplements to get healthier, but when it comes with a lot of preservatives and additives, I think it doesn't meet the point. So in a compounding pharmacy, the capsule that you get, it's 100% pure of only what you need, and therefore it addresses your problem perfectly. The The compounding pharmacy is relatively new in Malaysia, so I realize there may be questions about the validity of its practice here. Let me say that the contents of the capsules, the powders per se, the raw ingredients, are very much regulated by the suppliers that we get it from. So, for example, the doctor who decides to use the capsules from a specific compounding pharmacy then would have to make sure that the products are validated by either the FDA, which is the Food and Drug Authority from the US, or also via Australia, which is by the American Pharmacy Council. And this is because the raw products have to be validated to meet its certain specificity in terms of the purity, whether it's heavy metal tested. And so as a practicing doctor, I actually look at the COA, which is the Certificate of Analysis, to make sure these compounds are actually pure before releasing it to my patients. So that is how we make sure that the end product that goes to the patient is a pure product that addresses the patient's needs. Now that is just half of the story, because that just talks about the raw material. How the material is handled and how is it kept and who handles them is the other part of the equation. So here I make sure that the pharmacy that I liaise with keep to very, very high standards, and that is standards that's set by the Ministry of Health, and they go on an annual inspection by the AMPRA, which is our national pharmaceutical regulatory body, and they also have many things in place to make sure that the clean room facility is kept hygienic in terms of environmental testing, also making sure HEPA filters are installed, things are done in a biosafety cabinet. So as a doctor, I make sure that these are processes that are in place in the pharmacy that I choose before releasing the products to my patients. Compounded medications, or the prescription, can only be available via a prescription from a doctor, and that is the crux of what a compounding pharmacy is, and that is what makes it very different from a retail pharmacy. I think in this past 1 or 2 years, I've noticed a very different scene towards my patients. I find that there is now very much higher awareness in terms of looking after themselves, and a lot of health-seeking behaviors as well, namely due to COVID and the need to increase immunity. So I think compounding pharmacy plays a vital role in this. To address one's immune system, it's not just a matter of taking a concoction of products, but you need to look at what your levels are and what needs to be replaced and how that needs to be done. So I think via a compounding pharmacy, this can be addressed quite well. I think the awareness needs to be there that such there's available of these services for you to further improve your health. And I think this is definitely the future of pharmacy, simply because we don't want to be taking compounds or chemicals that is not necessary, and what we need to take in optimal amounts. So I very truly think that a compounding pharmacy is the way forward, and more doctors and patients will benefit a lot by this.